Hello and welcome to Thinker Maker, a Savvy Self production. In this episode, we're going to explore how well the EU is doing. Do feel free to pause to read the slides anytime. Now we begin with money. Let's start with a quick chat about how a nation keeps the price of bread steady to prevent inflation, price rises. Back in medieval times, for hundreds of years, believe it or not, inflation was near zero. The price of things, candles, oil, wool, and so on, remained unchanged, except bread, which did spike in a bad harvest year. Now just think, steady prices through your whole life. Wouldn't we all love that? It all started going wrong around the 1500s. That's when the idea of interest rates took hold, along with a kind of globalization, with Europe's empires bringing abundant precious metals from colonies. This devalued coins. And then, in the 1930s, money experts ditched the gold standard and inflation skyrocketed. And we've been living with endless inflation ever since. Not so expert, hey? So then, the experts at national banks started using interest rates like a forklift truck to raise or drop a currency's strength to control inflation in booms and busts. The UK has its very own interest rate. France used to have its own interest rate for its old money, the franc. Every European country had its own money and its own interest rate forklift. And that was fine because countries boomed and busted out of sync. Our former Prime Minister, John Major, rightly said that all Euro countries' economies would have to be in sync for the euro to work, and nobody believed that could happen. Even now, they're not in sync. So all euro countries which are still out of sync with booms and busts have lost interest controls over their own economies. So a lot of foolish, wishful thinking in the euro project. And despite his own warning 20 years ago, John Major did try to sync the British pound with the Eurozone, and it broke the Bank of England. Now, we don't want that again, do we? So the Euro plan was and still is a case of fingers crossed. And it's not going well, because these countries have never been in sync. Just compare Germany and Greece. And when the financial crisis hit in 2007-2008, which experts did not predict, countries could not control their own interest rate, and it got so bad that those same experts worried the euro would die if Greece stayed in the Eurozone. Now, to bail out banks and save the euro and keep Greece in it, European political masters used public tax funds, a wholesale abuse of citizens bringing severe austerity, and chaos from outrage of the people was to be expected. You can't brush that kind of energy under the rug, but that's what the EU have been doing for decades. Not only that, when they bailed out the banks with taxpayer funds, Brussels actually broke its own European Commission's rules. Read their website. The Commission's job is to prevent unfairness of public money to prop up companies. Sure enough, since a decade ago, across Europe, riots came and are ongoing. In Greece, France, the Yellow Vests, even Belgium. As local business died in the crisis and unemployment rocketed. I took this photo in Spain, 2009. More than half of the people under 35 years old in and around Mediterranean region countries became unemployed. Even the pro-EU media published that Greece remains locked in an EU debtor's prison. And for the first time since money was invented, in 2019, financial media like Bloomberg and Business Insider report the euro's upside-down world of negative interest rates. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you work hard this year, save money, say to buy your first home, put it in the bank, well then next year it's worth less than you started. Ha! How do you save a home deposit? That's just pie in the sky. Welcome to how money works in the Eurozone. Look, in summer of 2019, the respected Business Insider reports that Germany went into recession. And the pro-EU Guardian reported that the UK was floating and growing. Look again. European national governments collapsing. Italy, the fourth biggest economy of Europe. Collapse, collapse, collapse. Spain. Collapse, collapse, collapse. These reports from respectable foreign news outlets. British mainstream media is not telling us. So understand this. If the Eurozone currency and economy are in trouble and chaos, which they are, then any other economy which is too heavily dependent on trade with it risks getting dragged under too. Let's not forget what grandmothers say. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially if the first basket restricts having another basket. You can draw your own conclusions. Thank you for watching.